I think it's time to read some more of his zero hedge on this power outage in specifically Texas. This is from earlier too, but still. Is Texas facing a humanitarian crisis? Up to 15 million Texans remain without heat and electricity as temperatures across the state are well below freezing. Another round of winter weather is battering parts of the state Wednesday morning, as many Texans have been without electricity since Sunday are desperately scrambling to find shelters. Weather-related deaths have already been reported as one of the nation's wealthiest states can barely supply electricity to its residents. And some of those residents have written to us to share their painful realities. My house is now resembling a refugee camp. Yeah, these are all my friends, but crazy because they all have young kids, hence I'm escaping the chaos. What's insane is that the big swaths of population in surrounding areas are without power and water supply. Bottled water flying off the shelves, and stores about to run out. So much for the Green New Deal shit. All our turbines and solar don't work in the freeze. LOL. I live in an area behind a major hospital, so I'm thinking that's why my grid is still up and running the whole time. The unprecedented polar vortex split dumping Arctic air down to the Gulf of Mexico resulted in frozen wellheads that impeded the flow of natural gas to power stations, triggering electric shortages. Triggering electric shortages as demand overwhelmed the grid. Considering ERCOT, which manages 90% of the state's electric load, has a high percentage of electrical generation produced by natural gas, power has yet to be restored to millions of folks. Still, on Wednesday, the power grid operator warned 40% of generation capacity remains offline. The cascading effect of blackouts and controlled power outages has resulted in some critical infrastructure, such as cellular networks and water treatment plants, going offline. As we attempt to show below, the speed at which one of the nation's wealthiest states transforms into a third world country is simply stunning. Jared Tennant, a drone pilot in Central Texas, captured stunning images of how downtown Austin has been lit up during the power grid collapse, while surrounding and more impoverished communities on the outskirts of town have had their power cut. Tennant shows images of downtown Austin Tuesday night, municipal buildings, empty office buildings, and even parking garages fully lit throughout the night. Office buildings in downtown Austin were lit up during the blackouts. Austin's convention center had power, while neighborhoods across I-35, just right next door, were dark. Downtown offices were lit while tens of thousands of people in surrounding community froze. One reader wrote that Central Texas looks like a refugee situation of sorts, offering some anecdotal accounts of what he's seeing on the ground, which is nothing short of a disaster in the making. Central Texas looking like maybe these are some of the comments. Refugee situation. Suburbs without or with power have homes with 10 to 15 or 20 people piled into living rooms with sleeping bags. Increasingly, whole zip codes are being hit with not just power outage, but water system going down also, either through frozen or electrically damaged processing facilities, or key pipes bursting. Anyone without power or water, now going to be 2 to 3 days, is begging any friends or family in the area still with power to take them in. Often multiple families are camped out in living rooms of those who still have water or still have power. Families are dropping off young children in residences and with neighbors that still have heat. Basically, whole neighborhoods on other side of highway have no power, are moving into neighborhoods on the other side where power still exists. I'm getting phone calls from friends and elderly people in the community asking desperately for firewood. People are now running out of firewood, and the couple grocery stores actually open for a few hours a day are constantly out. People are braving the iced over roads to go looking for anyone with firewood. Any home that still has water is filling up jugs and bathtubs in expectation of water supply cut at any moment. The water situation is getting alarming, especially many elderly now trapped in homes with no heat or water. Local stores, the 2 or 3 that are actually open, are limiting customers to 2 gallons of water each. It's flying off the shelves. Individuals with 4-wheel drive and/or Jeeps have been seen picking up stranded strangers on the side of the road. Often people are having to hike miles to an open corner store to raid the shelves for any canned food or still available items. As vehicles get stuck and/or become inoperable due to extreme freeze, people have been seen hiking out of suburban neighborhoods to reach quote-unquote civilization or any area still with power and water. People are also now living in their work offices and/or teachers bringing their family to school classrooms to live if the school or office still has power and water. In many cases, schools or some churches are not yet officially warming centers, yet people are basically squatting, entering any public place or room they can find that's warm. For most part, there's almost zero snow, plow, or de-icing equipment, particularly in mid to small sized towns and rural areas. Last night's layer of ice storm means many people now trapped in their powerless, waterless homes, even if they want to leave for a warming center. There's no recourse, no answers. Encore will not answer any calls or give answers to days running. Civic services not responding. Also, local police departments are angrily demanding answers from the large energy companies. Growing number of carbon monoxide poisonings in area and the state. People are lighting charcoal grills indoors. Also running vehicles inside garages. Remember my last video? I knew that's what they were doing. Super dangerous. About the vehicles in the garages. Another Texas resident exclaimed, "So I honestly don't really know if there's any way to mitigate this at all, or if there is any point trying to kick and scream and raise awareness about this, since it seems like such an unstoppable avalanche. But with all the pipes bursting, as well as water treatment plants now going offline, next week when this shit thaws out, all of that sewage is going to coat the entire effing state. Which is gross. But the worst part of it is that effing COVID can transmit through sewage. Not all that well, and it probably needs to be aerosolized, but with apartment buildings and the fact it will be everywhere and everything else, Texas is about to become a science experiment in herd immunity. When those pipes start to thaw, I bet they're gushing. They'll be gushing and spurting too. How long is it going to take to seal everything off? There's just no way. I hope I'm wrong, but I think Texas might be on its way to becoming a third world country." Houston Chronicle's Brett Coomer reports dozens of people lined up to fill their propane tanks, many of whom have been without power for days. More Texans are standing in freezing weather waiting for propane fill-ups. There's just pictures. People are running out of food. Huge lines were seen at a grocery store in Houston suburb on Wednesday. Someone tweeted, "Bel Air, Texas, suburb of Houston. Line to enter lone open grocery store." Took a picture of that, video of that. More people are starving in Texas. A drone captures a massive line at another grocery store. Line up at a grocery store in Texas. Of course, it's outside. There's snow all over the ground. And there's just people standing. A very long line. Lines at the gas stations. The line to get into HEB an hour before they open. I expect it to wrap around the building within the hour. Why? No power and most stores are closed. Why? Texas insulated and privatized the grid and failed to winterize it. Time to expropriate. It starts here, one Twitter user said. What else? As predicted, long lines. Users are reporting grocery stores are now placing limits on food to avoid shortages. Another picture of a line of people outside a grocery store in Austin, Texas. Only 15 items allowed at checkout. This is the line outside to get inside the only grocery store on our roads are safe to get into in Canyon Lake, Texas. We have been out of power and water since last Sunday. It is now Wednesday. Friends brought us firewood. It's 26 degrees outside, another Twitter user said. And while people rush to stores for propane and food, others are facing some grim realities at home with busted pipes. A Dallas resident records ice frozen fan. I'm going to have to share that one. We're going to have to take a look at this one. A resident in Dallas, Texas shared this photo after pipes burst in his apartment. Temperatures reached -2 Tuesday morning. Thousands of Texans don't have power, heat, water, or food. Wow. More busted pipes. Some homes in Texas are not winterized. Small businesses, same thing. The Hilton Hotel in downtown Fort Worth is flooded after pipes broke. The Hilton, downtown Fort Worth, water gushing from an apartment deck. Burst pipe has been running for 9 hours at an apartment in Austin. This certainly doesn't look good. Car wash. Look at the car wash. Holy crap. Whoa. That's cold. That is cold, my friends. What else we got? Homes across Texas have been devastated by bursting pipes all day. And it gets worse. Houston Public Works pipes are beginning to break. Broken water pipe at Nagel and the light rail. Probs need to be turned off. Clearly been going all night based on the ice. We'd really appreciate this water actually in our house. Someone wrote, is anything in Texas winterized? The George Allen Dallas County Civil Court in Dallas experienced a major leak due to a frozen water pipe. Yep. My entire TikTok FYP is flooded with videos like this of people's homes in Texas. The electric company is dead ass wrong for turning off power knowing pipes would bust in the cold. Well, again, we don't know yet how it would all happen with electric, but it does appear that a lot of that natural gas that was needed for those electric power plants, the wellheads froze. It's not like they turned it off. However, there were areas where they were forcing blackouts because they just did not have the power to give it everybody, so they had to actually force power outages. I understand. How about Bitcoin or silver or gold coins? And someone has a sign on their door: open cash only, no electricity, please slide door. Internet search trends for pipe burst are exploding across Texas. Imagine how many insurance claims will be filed in the coming days. And I was just thinking, flooding insurance, is that pipes burst? I think that's a little different. Yeah, flood insurance is a little different, so you should be covered. It seems the power grid collapse in Texas is morphing into a humanitarian crisis that is far from over. And I got a little thinking to do about something myself, actually. So anyways, I got to go. Take care.